was interesting because the other day, Shams Charania, who really, I should have just like a segment on our Locked On Sixers podcast that's just like Shams Charania segment update on Ben Simmons, because that's basically, where we get all of our news these days.
Right.
But he came out and said that Rich Paul told him that even if Ben Simmons gets traded to another team, that he's not going to play right away. So then you're hearing that, and then you're kind of thinking to yourself, well, and whether or not that's true, who knows, right? It's an agent playing an agent game. Right. But if it is, and maybe he's just trying to mess with the Sixers some way, I don't know. But that decreases his trade value, doesn't it?
Absolutely it does.
And so if I'm a team that's going to be trading for Ben Simmons, and now you've got the agent coming out and saying, well, he's still not going to be mentally ready to play for that team, even if he gets traded, that's got to decrease his trade value, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because especially if that's only furthering the idea that he's not mentally ready to play the game of basketball. Why would I give you top dollar? Why? I think Rich Paul has really screwed this whole thing up so bad. I think Ben Simmons has screwed this thing up so bad where it's made it next to impossible to trade. If there was mental health issues, and I don't want to go down that avenue of questioning it, but if that was the case, where's that story in August? Instead of having all these other stories leak out about how he just wants to trade, he doesn't want to play with Joel Embiid, he doesn't want to face the Philadelphia fans, it's not up to him to fix his trade value. All those stories that were leaking out for a month and a half, none of them had to do with mental health. If that was something that they were going to, I don't want to say use, but at least put out there, why did they wait so late to do it? That's what seems so odd to me when it surrounds Ben Simmons in the way, and Rich Paul the way that it has.
Yeah, I think for me, the weird part is regarding the mental health aspect is, like, I take mental health very seriously. It is something that I have in my family very seriously. I have family members that have mental health disorders. And so I have a lot of experience with it. And I think what is disheartening to me about this particular situation is really how much focus there has been on the money aspect. Because we're talking about mental health here. Mm-hmm. And if someone is really, really struggling, if someone really has a mental health disorder or a disability and is really, really struggling, I would think that the last thing that should be on your mind is getting fined for not being at practice or a game or whatever the case is. And there has been so much money now, or so much attention now put on this money aspect, that to me, it then takes away from the forward progress that we have made as a society in being more aware of mental health issues, right? Instead, we're reading reports about Simmons being in the back of a film session and him getting, basically a schedule of where he should be that day, if he doesn't want to get fined. So then he shows up in the back of the film session. Well, if you're just showing up not to get fined, I mean, to me, it's like, at this point, who cares about that? If you are really, really struggling, who cares? And by the way, you'll get your money back because the NBA Players Association, they're going to go to bat for you if that's the case, right? So yeah, sure. Why is that what we're talking about? And I think for me, Mark, that's what gets me.
Understood. How good are the Sixers without Ben Simmons? Like, let's say Joel Embiid comes back, Matisse Thybulle, and everyone's healthy and all that stuff. What are the realistic expectations for this 76ers 2021-2022 season?
If there's no trade for Ben Simmons and he's just...
If there's no trade, or let's say you get back not even an all-star player, but somebody that's like a Tobias Harris level player.
Second round of the playoffs, something like that, I'd say. I mean, look, this team is still really good. Yeah. If you've got a healthy Joel Embiid, this team is still really, really good. So they're going to make it to the playoffs. But if you can't get something back for Ben Simmons this year, it would be hard for me to say they'd go that far to a place where they want to be. But I could still see him going to the second round.
I could too. I could see them taking a first round series. Absolutely. I do want to ask you about another newcomer real quick, because I know we're short on time, but You mentioned you just could come to Philadelphia and you work your ass off and people will love you. I'm not afraid to say it. I know it's early on in our relationship, but George Niang, I love you. I'm not afraid to say it. I feel like it's totally fine. I can admit that. I freaking love this guy. George Niang, man, gets on the floor, gets dirty, yells at officials, hits threes, embraces the crowd. I was at that game where they played the Bucks. George Niang is telling me to get off my feet. And guess what? You're damn right I got off my feet because George Niang told me to. I'm loving what he's bringing to the table here in Philadelphia.
Well, and you're a family man, right? So wait, do you drive a minivan now?
I don't drive.
No?
I do drive an SUV, but I do not drive a minivan. No.
Okay, well, when that next kid comes,
yeah,
I'm calling you up, and I think you're going to trade in the SUV for a minivan, and then you're really going to be on the George Niang train.
Yeah, right.
You know, just rolling up.
And it's not even like the Jimmy Butler minivan. You know what I'm saying? It's not even like a cool minivan.
No. What do you think the brand of the minivan would be?
For me?
Yeah.
I was a Nissan Quest guy growing up. We had a Nissan Quest. Joe Farzetta and Eleanor, they had a nice Nissan Quest for my brother Michael and I. So that's what we rocked. And I remember we were so blown away when my parents bought the minivan because we could control the radio in the back. I remember there was a headphone jack and there was buttons where you could change the radio station. And my brother and I would fight over that like cats and dogs. And then you could fold down the one seat and have a table for your McDonald's meal. So there you go. That's a Nissan Quest. Yeah.
Tell your guys to get on the next ad sponsors. You know, you got to find maybe a Nissan sponsor, someone with a minivan. You get the minivan, and then you talk about George Niang all day because, like you said, that guy just gets the city of Philadelphia. He just does. Mm-hmm. And he also just happens to be averaging 12 points a game, which is almost double what he was averaging in Utah. And I mean, look. Yes, he's been inconsistent. Like he has, right? He'll have a game where he makes 5 threes, and the next game he makes 1, and the next game he goes over, so over a couple games he might be 1 for 7. But he's like a Furkan Korkmaz in that he's not afraid to pull the trigger. And if you drop a play for him, he's going to shoot and he's going to go on heaters. So, I mean, Philly is going to love the guy. They already do. So what else can I say about him? How can you not love the guy?
I might use the word smitten.
Well, you look smitten right now. I think you're blushing too.
These are just my natural cheeks. This is the last thing I want to run by. I'm just going to throw you a couple of names, just excitement level, if this is what you end up getting back in return for Ben Simmons.
Okay.
Dame Lillard.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay, that's the easy one. That's the easy one. All right, let's go with his teammate. Lehigh kid, CJ McCollum.
At this point, I'm okay with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm right around there as well. One of the latest names that's come about in all this, Jaylen Brown.
Okay. There's no way they're getting Jaylen Brown.
But all right, let's live in this hypothetical.
So first of all, yes.
Okay.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. You're getting shooting back for that? Yes. But
all right.
They're not getting him.
We're excited, but we're never going to have
him. When they get him, you're going to replay this on repeat, just over and over. They're not getting him. They're not getting him.
That's Serena Winters. Yeah, listen to that Locked On 76ers podcast. Yeah, what is that lady? Come on. In all seriousness, Serena, so amazing catching up with you again. Seriously, you know how much I miss you. You do a fantastic job. The podcast is a absolute. I was going to say a home run. Forget it. It's a quadruple double. That's what it is. All right. People can check it out. Make sure you guys check it out. Follow Serena on Twitter, and make sure you guys check out and get this podcast, Locked On Sixers podcast, right there. Locked On Network. You guys can check it out. Follow Serena Winters. Very simple. At Serena Winters.
Pretty easy.
It's just like that. Just like at Marc Farzetta at Serena Winters. Bada boom, bada bing. Simple as that.
We got it.
Serena Winters, ladies and gentlemen, check her out. Locked On 76ers podcast. Serena, thank you so much for joining me on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line.
Love it. Love Mark. Love the Farzy Show. Love the Sixers fans. Great being on.